So the spotlight remains on the quality of construction around Australia. Today we're going to dig a little deeper just to see what's happening. Even when the quality is good, things can still go wrong. Keep watching. Hello and welcome to episode 2 of our series about building construction and some of the issues in that space at the moment. Mark Harry from McCarthy Group, and joining me today is Stephen McCarthy, CEO of McCarthy Group. Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you, Mark.
And today we're going to look at one of the major apartment constructors, the major builders on the east coast, certainly of Australia. Has been in business for 20 plus years, 25 years or more. No issues with the quality of the construction, no issues at all. Yet today, this week, we're finding that they have gone out of business. Now, whilst that is upsetting, I guess, for those folk, we need to look a little deeper into that space and see, well, what happens if you happen to be an investor into one of those apartments? Remember, this is not to do about quality, this is just about the process. So today we're going to look a little closer into see what's happening there. So let's start with deposits, Stephen. What happens with deposits?
Okay, well, good question, Mark, and it's a tragedy. Again, as you point out, a long-standing company, quality constructions, their properties are not falling down, or at least none that we know about. So those of you who have been in this space or been watching this space would have seen pictures of over 1,000 people gathered in one spot. Liquidators called a meeting, and these people are all clamouring to get their deposits back. And the liquidator says, well, there's not really going to be much chance of that. And I really today want to talk about why they don't have any chance of getting those deposits back.
So dollar value here, like an average apartment price would be somewhere around the
$700,000.
So we're talking about a $60,000 to $70,000 worth of deposit, right?
Yeah. So quite typically, as we all know, is that it would be unusual for somebody to put down a 10% deposit. So let's say that deposit is $80,000 on an $800,000 unit. And that deposit should be locked away into a trust account, a real estate agent's trust account, which is protected by law, or alternatively a independent party such as the solicitor acting for the either for the purchaser or acting for the vendor, and it's locked away into one of their trust accounts. Now, and so the trust accounts is that's like your safekeeping.
Yes.
But in this particular case, what has happened is that the developer has said, look, that $80,000, well, I'll just use a very small proportion of that for an actual deposit, as little as, say, $100. And if you lend me that $80,000, I'm going to use that, and I'll pay you, and in this case, a 15% return on that investment for the use of that $80,000. And so people have thought, well,
that sounds very attractive.
That's attractive, and long-standing developer, so I'll do that. So what they did is that they didn't actually, their deposits weren't covered and put into a trust account, it was speculated.
Right.
And the developer has used that money to meet his interest cost on the money that he's borrowed to build the property in the first place. And that's why these investors won't be covered when trying to get their deposits.
Sounds a little bit Ponzi scheme, pyramid type situation?
We don't know enough about that, what has happened, but I simply wanted to point out is that typically your deposits would be covered if it goes into a trust account, but in this case the money never went to the trust account because there was a side agreement lending the money to the developer. Totally different.
Okay, so that's I guess point number one is this word trust account doesn't always have a lot of trust about it. So we need to, if you're in that space, you need to really look a lot deeper than what appears on the surface.
Yeah, we'll make sure it goes into the trust account.
So let's move to the second point about the idea of the 4-story rule. What's the 4-story rule?
All right. Well, again, so as an investor, you might be thinking, oh my God, am I going to be safe anywhere? Well, I certainly want to talk about, the difference, say, with, a house and a land package. Now, when a builder builds a house for somebody, is that house is guaranteed to be completed in the event that the builder goes under. That the builder must pay to the Building Services Council an insurance premium, normally around somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000 per house. So that money is lodged, once your plans are approved, it's lodged with the Building Services Council. The builder can't start work without it. And if that builder goes under, that premium means that the Building Services Council can come in and finish off the house even if the original builder cannot.
Okay, so the house will be finished regardless.
Regardless.
Okay.
It may just take a little longer under a
yep.
worst case scenario,
Yep.
but the house is going to be completed.
Okay.
And that's a really, really strong consumer protection.
Right.
Certainly much, much stronger than what we're seeing here in this.
And the 4-story thing?
The 4-story, well, any building that's above 4 stories basically does not have this form of insurance. They're uninsured.
Uninsured. So if the builder got to level 17 of a 20-story development, went bust, then
Good luck on that.
good luck on that.
Yeah, and this is a mess that now the administrators need to go in. There's a number of buildings that this developer has got uncompleted. It's leaving everybody in limbo as to exactly what happens here. But it's a mess. It really,
All right,
really
we're
is.
out of time today, but keep watching. There's more to come.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
This cut is fresh.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to send this information off to those around you. They would love to see it too, I'm sure. Like us and follow us on our social media sites, and stay tuned for next week's episode. Bye-bye.